Yes, yes, yeah. You are tuned in to Offering Something. I am your host, Michael Bernier. Feeling a little different to be alive today, that's for sure. And, you know, I love you for tuning into the show like you always do. Isn't that just so sweet? Isn't that so nice of people to just watch the show or take it in through your ears? Yeah. Woo! Woo!
All right.
That was premature, but I'll take it. Yo! Again, it's happened. There are all these really amazing humans breathing in this room right now in the Off-Some jungle. And I'm going to take the time to introduce every one of them. Yeah. But what I'm going to do first is start with this guy right here.
Woo!
All right. Oh, yeah. Yo. He's an individual that was born in the Charlestown, Mass housing projects. And he made his way all the way up to them Hollywood film sets.
Woo!
Yeah.
All right.
Yo, it's all facts. No scam. Once upon a time, this dude was a... Damn. Once upon a time, this dude was a con man. Now, he a movie producer with a plan. And as the truth, good goddamn.
Yeah. Goddamn.
Woo!
All right.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Goddamn.
Are we okay? Are we all
Yeah,
right?
we're good. We're great.
Good.
We're having a great time.
Yo. And when it comes down to acting, boy, he drip with passion. Leave you walking away like, yo, did that really happen?
Woo!
All right.
Yo. Guys, I'm kind of like, man, y'all a little mellow in here.
Well,
Yeah.
is that
It didn't help that you smoked 15 blunts
There you go.
before we came in
That's,
here.
there's
Yeah.
the answer.
You know.
There's the answer.
And doused everybody with 2 pounds of beef. So,
Yeah.
you know, they're
Accurate.
a little tanked, but we're good to go.
Yep.
Lastly, with all sincerity and honesty, he's a kind and loving man. That I promise thee. Yo, get with me and say word up to my man, Johnny Hickey.
Woo!
Johnny.
Woo! Wow, 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 wow.
Hell
Yeah, boy.
yeah.
Hey, how
Thank
you
for having
doing?
me, my man. Thank you.
It's my
Appreciate
pleasure.
it. This is dope. This is super fucking dope.
I felt like I was auditioning, bro. And I
No.
got like a D- on that.
No, I was
shit.
impressed. I mean, you were smashing rhymes and everything. I wasn't expecting that. I got caught off guard. High as a kite. That's all.
Oh, yeah. Also in the room today. I don't know too much about this guy right here, but there's a few
Mystery.
things to note. First, look at him. You know he makes you feel so good. Smile on his face. Good times vibe. I also know he got me involved with this super dope DMX event. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
not DMX. That's a lie.
DMC.
DMC. Like what? DMC.
Oh my God, from the
Legend.
grave. We had Wait, DMX died, right?
Yeah, he's no longer
Okay,
with us.
that's what I said. I was
I think
like,
He's gone.
Part of DMC did too, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Part of them did, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
but- Anyway, yo, it's my man behind Cannaspace. Say hello to Brian.
Woo!
Admittedly,
Brian.
I don't think I ever asked you your last name.
McHugh.
McHugh.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey,
Hey,
looking sticky as
Hey.
ever. So
I
nice.
definitely didn't wash my hair today, so yeah, that makes
No,
sense.
you look really clean. Say hello to Sticky Lens.
Hey,
Hickey.
hey, hey.
Wow.
Wow.
Also in the room today, amazing human beings. My guy behind the brick house from Scarborough, Maine is Paul Williams. Yeah, bringing the treats like he always does. So tasty.
The Muffin Man.
Baked good, so tasty. It's John Pangill from Conley Baked Confections is here.
Yes.
Seated on the floor, antisocial as ever.
It's on your shirt.
That's so true.
Yeah, it's my guy, Silly Goose.
Silly.
Silly goose.
And a man that never shows his face on the camera or in the photographs, but he always here. Say hello to Pierre.
Yeah.
All right. Together today, we make up offering something. Yeah, I appreciate each and every one of y'all for moving your physical bodies into this room. That's so good of you. You feel pretty safe, Johnny.
I feel perfectly safe.
Perfectly safe.
Yeah, perfectly
Comfortable.
safe. Very comfortable.
Almost liking it.
Liking it, optimistic, yeah. No, I came in, I seen it when I came down to pee in the bush outside. But I looked at this part of the operation and I was like, oh, they got a nice little, they got a good operation in here. I was impressed.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
We left a piece of the hidden world exposed.
Oh,
There we go.
a glitch in the
yeah.
Matrix.
We're back.
Thank you.
Run it back.
So things that I know, Johnny, about you, that your tale is epic. First thing that I mentioned in my intro is that you come from Massachusetts, what you call Massachusetts Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, for sure.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Charlestown, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Bunker Hill Project specifically.
What, Bunker Hill?
Bunker Hill, yeah. That would be the Hell's Kitchen of Boston.
Bunker
Hill
Hill
with the
Projects
bricks.
raised you?
Raised me. 34 McNulty Court, 97 Walford Way, 49 Quarter Street. So my fucking hood went to the Eddies, and I went to St. Catherine's for a couple of years. Then I got bused because I couldn't afford Catholic school anymore. So they would bus me on a yellow bus when they were doing like the big dig in the 90s. They'd bus me over to my elementary school and the south end behind Methadone Mile, the J.J. Hurley. And so then I left there. I went to so then you go into a lottery after that. So I got lucky. My middle school lottery, I ended up in Charlestown. So I went to the Eddies in Charlestown. And then went to Charlestown High, which was like preparation for prison, basically.
Prep for prison.
Yeah, no bullshit. That's what
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
You know?
So in your words, it wasn't unusual for you to see somebody's mother's head get blown off?
No, not at all.
That's something you've seen with
I've
your
seen
eyes?
my uncle shot 6 times in front of me. I seen that same uncle cut his brother, my Uncle Paul, my mother's other brother. You ever see the Rambo knife? Remember Rambo?
Yeah, I know exactly. With the compass on the back,
He
toothpicks in it.
filleted my Uncle Paul in front of me when I was like 9 or 10 years old.
Was the word fillet that you used?
Yeah, filleted him. Like he fed him up like a fucking fish. Like he hit him with the sword. And
I'm laughing
I
because
wasn't
it's
expecting
disturbing.
this.
Sorry,
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
no,
I was
mean,
not-
Don't be sorry.
You know,
I love harsh reality. People need to hear
I lived
about
through
it.
a lot of that shit and that stuff when I was little, and then I was part of like a deeper world as my adolescence took place. But that stuff was common. Like my friend that I went to school with, like his mother got her head blown off. And like that's what we were dealing with in like 2nd grade, like that. My buddy's mom's head got blown off by this dude who shot like, I don't know, probably like 7 to 9 other women. So he would get high on blow with them. He was a serial killer, but he
And
killed
then
them.
shoot him in the face.
So he'd get high on blow with them. He'd tell them all, confess all his crazy shit because he was high on fucking blow. And then he'd be like, he'd start coming down and be like, oh shit, I just gave this bitch all my information.
Oh
Bow.
my God.
Like, and this is a common thing. This dude, like everybody in the town knows this happened. It took place. He's dead now.
They're like, no, that's Charlie. He just shoots chicks in the face.
Yeah, so that was my neighborhood. Those are just like fragments of my neighborhood growing up in the projects.
From what I understand, Charlestown, Massachusetts may produce the most bank robbers in the entire country.
Yeah, I can tell you why. I can break that down. So
Break it down
So
for
obviously
me,
you see the town and you see that's loosely based on like my Uncle Bobby's crew, the No Name Gang. These guys that just like ripped armored trucks and banks from, down south all the way up to fucking Vermont. Everything in between. and that passed down from a couple.
You say robbed armored trucks? Is that what you said?
Yeah, robbed
Okay,
armored
all
trucks,
right, all right.
like heat type shit.
I want to make
And,
sure that's clear.
No,
Yeah.
they did that. My uncle did 25 years for trucks and banks. My uncle Bobby, but and a bunch of other people, whatever. But the reason why there was so many was generations before that, the IRA needed funds to fund the IRA. So they had all these Irish immigrants in Charlestown that were connected to the IRA. So they supplied them with guns to rob banks to get money to fund the IRA. Boston also had a state prison at the time in like the 30s to the 50s with the Prison Point Bridges with Bunker Hill Community Colleges. It's the first prison where they electrocuted people. So the power used to go out in the town. So the town just has negative energy dating back to the 1500s. But the IRA is why there were more bank robbers per square capita than anywhere else in the country. Yeah.
Interesting.
So did this environment put you in a position where there were often situations where you had to practice the code of silence? Like you saw something, but when they're like, yo, you see that? And there was like 30 people there. Everybody's like, nah.
The cops really never asked
I didn't see
anything.
nothing.
The cops never really asked anything when things happened because they knew that was kind of built in. And the reason that was built into the neighborhood, the code of silence, is because of the state prison. So half the Irish immigrants ended up at Longshoreman. Some of them ended up in the state prison, but the other half ended up in the state prison.
Yeah.
So you got a square mile neighborhood of all Irish people. And then at least 50% of the men, the most alpha badass fucking men, because they're the ones that are in prison, so they're tougher and they're more likely to fucking cut your head off or whatever. They're coming back into the neighborhood from the jail that's just a block away, and so they're bringing this jailhouse mentality, this prison mentality and code of rules and ethics from this prison into the streets of Charlestown.
Now describe to me, like in this housing project, like how many people are living in there? What's going on from in the hallways? Like what's the scene?
In my housing project, there was about 1,200 units, 3 stories high, and there were these hallways you would walk in like a green metal door. And depending on like if you were on a corner or in the middle, the hallways had more units. So the corner ones had more units, and the middle ones would have 2 apartments, 2 apartments, 2 apartments, door to the roof.
Yeah.
But you could like go in, rob a drug dealer in this apartment, run up on the roof, run across, run down a different hallway, come out to a car, all the way on the other side of a building, just by.
Now the way that you just described that, I almost felt like you have done this.
Absolutely. I mean, it's in the movie. If you watch Oxymorons, it's that's in the beginning of Oxymorons. They're chasing a character, and he brings them into the actual Charlestown project hallways and rooftops, and you
filmed
the
in
movie,
the actual...
the movie. Oh yeah, the movie
Oh,
opens
cool.
up in the projects like real deal, and they're chasing him through the hall. What I just explained.
Yeah.
That's the scene at the beginning of my film that opens it. Yeah.
Now we're talking about how growing up there ultimately lended itself to criminal activity, so to say. And we then fast forward to 2005, where you are waking up in a hospital where you've been out for 7 days because you were thrown off of an 80-foot ledge onto the ground because of a situation gone wrong. So how do you get from this younger person in the projects to this person that is...
So I was...
Wait, what I left out of that is when you woke up, the first thing that was said to you was that, Mr. Hickey, you're not going to walk again.
Correct. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they told me.
And I made you carry a thing of water up those stairs.
I love
I'm so
but
sorry.
that's why- but no, don't be sorry, because that's what I do. Even in my building now, I live on the 3rd floor, and I have an elevator.
Yeah.
But for me, one, the stairs are a great
Yeah.
exercise for me. It gets
Yeah.
my blood flowing, right, every time I do it. And doctors told me once I would never be able to fucking do that. So why am I not gonna?
Yeah.
Why am I gonna go
Yeah.
stand in the elevator
Take it
like
for
a piece of shit?
Yeah,
You
no,
know what I
that's-
mean? Unless I got like a ton of bags
Yeah.
or something, on my kids or something.
Oh, I
Yeah.
really don't
But-
like you? Yeah.
But seriously, so like
Wow.
carrying the waters, like I love doing stuff like that because I was told I would never walk again, and if I believed that and I allowed that to manifest, then I wouldn't be walking again. And that's not what happened. But how I got from growing up in the projects to that level of like that's the life I was living. Obviously, I was talking to someone earlier, and I was explaining that you go to school and they put you in geometry and algebra and you're creative. Like I always wanted to be involved in film. That was like a dream of mine. I wanted to be the first guy from Boston in my family to not go to jail, to not follow in the footsteps of my uncles.
So there was ambitions there.
Oh my God, yeah. I won mock trials. I was one of the only Caucasian males to win a state science fair. So like we're talking like middle school into freshman year in high school. I was doing good positive things. I published a book called Off the Corner when I was 14 with the JFK Center. That was a book about kids from all parts of Boston, from Roxbury, Dorchester, Chinatown, the North End, Southie, Charlestown, all about stories. It's called Off the Corner, about their stories, whether it was a poem, a rap, a drawing, a writing, anything, piece of a journal.
Is that something we can find out there now?
Yeah, you can find Off the Corner out there now. Yeah, you can definitely find that. That was my first thing I was ever involved in, and it was just their experiences having parents that were on drugs and all the crazy stuff they were dealing with. And then I lived this teenage life where I just got deterred from thinking I would ever be able to do any of the cool shit I'm doing. I never mind walk again or any of that, because I just got sucked into the world of crime because there was nothing else for me. There was nothing else for me. And,
it was there and available to you easily.
Yeah. So I grew up in Charlestown. Halfway through my senior year in high school, I end up in Gloucester High School because my mother, the thing about my mom, the whole time we're growing up in the projects with all this stuff, and most moms that didn't do this, my mother was going to Bunker Hill Community College. She went to Suffolk, got her bachelor's, and then got a teacher certification at Suffolk, and moved me and my brother out of the Bunker Hill projects and up to Gloucester, where she was a teacher now. But I was already
Gloucester, Massachusetts?
Gloucester, Mass, yeah. So now I'm halfway through my senior year in Gloucester, coming from Charlestown High, where again, it's like a prison environment, the way that the neighborhoods sit together at the tables and stuff like that, just wild shit. And now I'm in Gloucester, where there's kids with green hair and goth kids, and then there's the jock kids that are like in the high school movies, like have the jackets with the fucking on it, the fishermen, the football players, and all those kids tested me because I was a city kid. And I wasn't a punk. Like I didn't come in like a hard guy.
But did you have to punch kids in the face?
And I got sent to jail when I was 17. Oh, no. So I wasn't even old enough to buy scratch tickets. And Gloucester ruined me. The judge up there, who later got indicted for embezzling money, Judge Harrison, he said, this is my first time in front of this guy. A kid was starting with me in the hallway. And I kind of blacked out and fucked him up. Like I slammed his head in the locker, and I was smashing the locker in his face, and like I fucked up his eye socket and shit. So I was a little violent, but this was like,
But this
was me being bullied and pushed into the situation where even though I'm a nice kid, I can fight. I grew up in the projects. I think we have to fight. If you don't fight, you're a victim. And so I did that, and they made this big thing in Gloucester about it. Like I was like, this kid from Charlestown that came up with straight A's and B's, and literally it just started causing ruckus in Gloucester, and so they sent me to Middleton.
Oh no!
And I'm in all these adults. Oh no! 17 years old, halfway through my senior in high school. My mother's now just a teacher in that same high school. Like it was just such dark waters for me at that moment. And once I hit jail when I was 17, the guy that I was cellmates with, his name was Joe Romano, was the first person in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to ever be convicted of murder without a body. So that's who I'm in a room with.
Jesus.
Now let me just say, let me just say, super.
Okay, you guys go together well. You beat up somebody in high school.
Besides the fact that he was found guilty, besides the fact that he was found guilty, and I'm not even saying he did it. I'm just saying the fact that he was found guilty of throwing his wife's body in a wood chipper based on bone fragment and blood samples from his neighbor's wood chipper that he borrowed.
Sometimes
that's who I'm in a room with when I'm 17. And now he was cool to me. Like he gave me food and like mac and cheese, all that bullshit. And like he was like a nice guy in that sense. But psychologically, for a 17-year-old to be with somebody who that is their story of what's going on with them and locked in a 6-foot size room with them for an extended amount of time that's not a lot. It's going to make me a different person, I think, right?
Yeah,
and so then I come back out to the streets and I just go into the revolving door crime. And I was like, all right, you want to take my diploma from me? You want to take my dreams away from me? I'm going to be the best criminal that ever lived. That's what I'm going to do.
So for a stretch, you were succeeding as a criminal.
I was robbing drug dealers. I was
I
was not a guy that would come in here and you would want me around your fucking cameras. You know what I mean? I was just a thief and a robber and just a hustler and just took care of my crew, people around me. but it was every man for himself after that. You know what I mean? It was just that kind of attitude. And I was going to the raves, and I was just like selling K and E, and then I was selling fake, depending who it was, like, and then these people are selling fake K, Strawberry Quick, like, that I bought at Stop and Shop, like, shit like that, you know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
And then I just
There we go.
and then I continued.
That's not nice.
Then I continued this life of, I was these are what things I was doing. Then I was going to people and robbing this shit with, just living a very dark lifestyle. End up in jail for that lifestyle. And was doing the rave stuff, and I was sort of selling bags of K, and then people giving me 20s, so I'm getting fake 20s. So then the Secret Service comes to see me in fucking Middleton because I have, and it wasn't even a lot. It was like 5 fake $20 bills. But when you get arrested for a crime, and then you have fake counterfeit money on you, they need to come see you because they want to know if you're printing it or know where it's being printed, obviously. And I was like, no, it sounds like
federal offense.
Yeah, but they didn't charge me federally
far
because they just, they knew I wasn't printing them or anything like that. But that's the shit that I ended up going through all the way up into getting involved in the OxyContin scene and the pharmacies and all that, and going back to jail, and then getting out and, being at this hotel party where it was just a random kind of juvenile fight that got me thrown off the cliff. My friend was getting jumped in the parking lot. I was that street kid at that time where I was like, you know what? If I fucking don't jump in and help him, even if I get my ass kicked, I'm never going to live this down. Yeah. So I jump in and help my boy. My little brother's with me at the time, and he's younger. And I hit a kid, and then I feel something smash in the back of the head. And I remember falling, and I'm like, why the fuck can't I get up? You know what I mean? Like I'm like, get up, because I seen him kicking my friend in the face and like breaking Heineken bottles over his head. So I didn't want to be in that position, and that's what I thought was about to happen to me. So I'm just like thinking, like, hit the ground and get right the fuck up. And I'm like, why haven't I hit the ground? That's the last thing I remember is like, why haven't I hit the ground yet? And then I woke up 7 days later in Boston Medical Center. Dislocated hip, separated pelvis, bladder exploded, tore my urethra, and was told I would never walk again. I was being fed through a tube. I had a catheter in. My urethra healed on its own around the catheter somehow, a miracle. I taught myself how to walk again, and I went cold turkey in the hospital, no narcotics. So I woke up on the morphine drip. I woke up on the every 6 minutes I get to hit this button. When I hit the button, it would temporarily kill the physical pain, but it's so fucking temporary. When I say temporary, I'm talking like 10 minutes. And then that physical pain starts creeping back in. You know what I mean? Like those edibles, so they start creeping in. And it wasn't the fact that it killed the physical pain. It was the fact that every time I hit that button, I didn't care, and I wasn't mad at myself for putting myself in that situation that I was in and never being able to walk again. And then the button would wear off, and I'd lose my mind. And so I just said, I don't want this no more, because I was like, this is going to make me a heroin addict. I never did heroin. I never stuck a needle in my arm. I did every pill in the sun and everything else, but I never stuck it. And I didn't, that killed my sister, so I didn't want to do that. And
heroin killed your sister?
Heroin killed my sister. Yeah, heroin, like OG heroin. Yeah. And so I didn't want to leave there a heroin addict. I despised heroin, and I was so mad at myself because when I was involved in the OxyContin scene, I didn't know, and nobody really fucking knew yet, that OxyContin was heroin. And if I knew that pill was going to turn people into the thing that killed my sister, I would have never, I'm telling you, I would have, no matter how much of a psycho street kid, I would have never touched it. I frowned upon heroin because of that. And so now I've been involved in this whole scene with this shit. And my sister died from it, and I didn't know. And now I'm figuring it all out. And then if I don't leave, they're not going to send me home with this morphine drip. So I'm going to become a heroin addict. So I said no. And then they're like, we'll give you Demerol. We'll give you Dilaudid. I'm like, no. They couldn't give me pills because I was being fed through the tube. And so I went cold turkey. I got a letter from the doctor still, because they wrote it for me for drug court, saying that if anyone had any reason to use narcotics during his time here, it was this man, and he refused all narcotics. Wow. And I think that's why God, the universe, manifestation, whatever the fuck you believe in, call it what you will. We all believe in our own thing, and we all think we know something, but there's something, right? Whatever that is whether it's manifesting, whether it's a higher, whatever the fuck it is, doing that and not accepting what the doctors were telling me and praying and thinking in my head, I know how to walk again. I would just keep telling myself, I know how to, my mind was like, I know how to walk. So I get in the walker and I just drag that leg. I would just drag it. And dragging it went to like stepping on it a little bit and stepping on it a little bit more. Before you knew it, I was walking with a limp with a cane. And then the problem was why they said I would never walk again was because my pelvis separated.
Yeah.
And in order for them to wire it back together, they'd cut me open and they'd put this metal wire and they'd basically pull my pelvis back together. But they couldn't do that because of all my other infections that were going on. So they said my white blood cell count would attack that thing that they wrap it with. And there's like a 70-something% chance it would be fatal. So they couldn't do this. So they said my pelvis would heal like this. And the best option I might have is I would walk on those like stilts, those arm stilt things. That would have been, might have been my best option, if that, right? And somehow my pelvis healed on its own and went back to its original form. And all they could say to me was, well, you know how muscle has memory? Well, sometimes so can bone. And I was like, you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I just started looking at the whole, but then I started looking at the whole game back then. So I don't like to say like, oh, I knew before everybody else, but I was ahead of the game a little bit on what people are talking about now. Like the fact that the doctors were all wrong, right? They also fucked up my hip when they snapped my hip back into place. The only reason I had to come out was because they did it the wrong way and bone fragment got caught in between my joints. So they had to cut my leg open, take my hip out, scrape out the bone fragment, put it back in. And I realized that. And then I realized that the FDA approved this pill that is turning everyone into heroin addicts as a non-narcotic addictive painkiller with a time sale code on, then you can lick off like a fucking M&M. And I'm like, no. And then I found out that they hired companies, like analyst companies like SupplyScape that do Fortune 500 companies. So they go to like the Midwest and be like, all right, in the summertime, we need box fans. And you know what I mean? What stores need to carry. They do that kind of shit. And so they worked for Purdue Pharma to see where the high risk OxyContin areas were in the country. And SupplyScape thought they were doing it so that Purdue Pharma would reduce the amount that was being sent to those places. And then they quadrupled the amount when they found out the places that were the highest risk, Charlestown being one of them. And that was kind of, the Charlestown was the mecca of the OxyContin explosion, you know? And now it's something that affects Cape Cod, fucking every little hick town in Maine that like that never existed up there. Like Methadone Mile, that never existed. There was Methadone Mile, people went to the methadone clinic, but there was never an encampment of people living in tents. Like where are we as a future if like, even after everything I've been through and my story that I told, that this is where the fuck we're at. You know what I mean? Yeah. Still. Aggressively,
more than ever,
yes.
Tents everywhere, every city, all over the country.
Fentanyl is the #1 killer in this country for 18 to 45-year-olds. Everyone in this fucking room right now has more chance of dying from that than anything else. Okay? Even if none of us are even touching fentanyl, just statistically speaking.
Yeah, I got you.
This is crazy. So the equivalent to that, every day, 9/11 happens. It just doesn't happen to two buildings. It happens to individuals, drug addicts, or kids taking a pill by accident. And we all know that, but we're not rising up as if it was two buildings falling down every day. You know, so that's where we are.
I learned that when you get an epidural, that's what's in there is fentanyl.
Probably, yeah.
And I have like a nurse friend that was telling me about it, and I guess she says like you don't feel the effects of it, of like the mental high, because it goes in your spinal cord.
Well, and that's not to say that it's good, but that's pharmaceutical fentanyl. Yeah, so fentanyl was pharmaceutical first. You know, they did fentanyl patches, and so that was just a pharmaceutical drug. And then they realized in China this is super easy and cheap to make. Yep. And so China doesn't even fucking, this is facts. they don't even sell to Mexico. They they sell no, they give it to them. They give it to the cartels. The cartels do come here and sell it, but it's their way of nuking us every day without anyone really paying attention that they're fucking nuking us.
Strategy.
And it's a very cheap way of doing it. From a war standpoint, it's genius.
Now, let's transition into acting, movie producing career. The first film that you released, 2013, right? Mm-hmm. Oxymorons,
yep.
Where you're the lead role in this full feature film.
And I'll tell you why. Sip my water real quick.
Yeah.
Dry throat.
And this is about the very thing that you're talking about. How do we first, you write the story, I assume. Are you the guy with the notepad? Was it on a computer?
So I wrote in a notepad first. No fucking clue what I was doing. Of course I did, dude. Got my GED at the farm in Lawrence, dude. You know what I mean? At a minimum security summer camp. So yeah, I wrote it in a notebook, and I ended up, but I was passionate about acting. And so the only reason I was writing this, well, there's two reasons I was writing this. There was the reason of knowing that to be an actor, you got to write your own role. If you go down to Boston casting every day, and Angela Perry there is great, and you can get roles and things, but if you go down and just keep being the pizza guy, the guy in the bar, or the cop even, and that's just the thing you do, like, you're never going to get to where you want to be as an actor. You're going to get stuck there, right? You got to open up more things, more opportunities. So if you can write your own movie and do your own movie, then you do that, because then that gets you a role.
I love that. That's how you do it. You make it happen. Build your own. Yeah.
So I wrote Oxymorons in order to basically, have a role in a movie. I wanted to act. I didn't want to direct. I wasn't trying to wear every hat. That wasn't something I was trying to be the guy that's like does everything. Yeah. Like I'd rather just do certain things, right? But my director I had attached, this guy who did the September tapes in Sundance that I found, read my script, loved it. Got stuck in Lebanon because they did a car bomb attempt on his hotel.
Here we go.
Right? So, and these stories sound. One thing. If this all this shit I'm saying is not real, I'm a good storyteller. So either way, it's a fucking win. Yeah. Right? So they did a car bomb attempt on his hotel, and it had nothing to do with him. It was just something that was going on in Beirut at the time. Nothing happened to him, and he was even harmed, but he got stuck in Lebanon for an extended amount of time. So we had Barnstable County Jail. We had the camera we wanted to shoot, Tim Sylvia from the UFC. We had all these things attached and people there ready to go. And he's like, John, just direct your own fucking film. He's like, you wrote it. He's like, it. He's like, I want to say this to anybody else. He's like, I'm going to be here 2 weeks. You got, this is your first shot at this that you've been trying to do. I'm not going to fuck this up for you. He's like, you can do it. Just trust me. Just, make sure you have a team of people around you helping you, which I did. But like, you can do this. You can carry it all. Dang. And I carried it all. And it was an award-winning film. Yeah. Won the Prince Charles Award in London. Right. Yeah. And then I licensed it to Netflix, my first film. So my first film I licensed to Netflix, which was pretty fucking.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
It was dope.
It's definite round of applause.
And then the bigger thing than all of that, the biggest part of it was, when I made the movie, I said if I inspire or change one person's life with this story in this movie, then, I did my justice. And still to this day, thousands, not like, hundreds of thousands, but thousands of people reach out to me over the course of years. Yeah. And tell me how my movie changed their life and how they've been clean now for X amount of years or months or whatever, and they got their kids back and their lives together, and they're chasing their dream of doing this, or they're working. And so it turned from like one person doing that to like thousands, and a Marine tattooing the quote of what I say at the end of Oxymorons on his rib cage and sending me a picture of it. And I'm just like, wow, like my movie impacted lives like that. So that's the good, and it's launched me into everything that's going on now as well.
From the projects to the Hollywood sets to the chest, yeah, I like it.
That is wild.
Pretty incredible, man.
Thank you, man.
So we now can fast forward to Methadone Mile.
Yep, it's me. I'm the unprofessional person that's phone.
Oh my gosh.
This
is terrible. How dare you?
Shut it off, though. That's weird.
Brian, what's going on, buddy?
Turn mine off. Make sure that doesn't happen.
So you got. I like your shirt today. I told you that already.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I
wish it was a little smaller and you forgot it here.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
So Methadone Mile. Apologize. Methadone Mile was I've never done a short film before, so I did Oxymorons. I did a psychological horror film, Habitual, that came out during. It was a drug horror. It was about drugs that came out during COVID. It had a 400 screen release, but COVID shot us down. We literally had billboards up on like Route 1 and 1A come from the digital billboards and every. I mean, it was going. It was my big next break, and then COVID hurt us all in our own ways, right? Yeah. That's just how it hurt me, and whatever. So it's like what they say. You fucking either brush yourself off, get up, and do it again or whatever. So I brushed myself up.
But I said I'm gonna do again
because the film industry was like just coming back and stuff. I'm like, I'm not gonna like force a movie or a thing. I'll just do a short film. It'd be easy to raise money for a short film, but I'll make such a dope concept with a short film that it won't be ignored. We'll relaunch all this, talk about drugs. We'll talk about Methadone Mile, what's going on down there. And I end up bringing in Justina Valentine from MTV's Wild 'N Out, who's she's just like, so there for me. She's such a good friend, and she comes on board, and plays the lead in this for me. And she can act too.
Yeah, incredible.
She can fucking act, dude. She can do it, dude, which is crazy. And everyone's hitting me up like, yo, I didn't know she was from Boston. I'm like, she's not from Boston. She's from Jersey. And she plays a girl from Boston. Yeah. And then Lenny Clark. And so the interesting thing about Lenny Clark that you appreciate is when you asked me earlier about writing a screenplay.
Hey, Lenny. Yeah.
So about writing a screenplay in a notebook, I did a short film in Malden, and Lenny Clark was in it. And I just showed him the notebook. I just said, he just seemed like a Boston guy, you know what I mean, from Cambridge. I knew a little bit of his story.
Very much,
And so I was like, Lenny, I was like, hey, I wrote this idea, basically, of this movie I want to do about my life. And he reads it. He ends up taking it and reading it. I give him the notebook, and he takes it home and he reads it. And he calls me up on the phone, and he's like, Johnny, I think you got something here. I really do. I think you're onto something. And so he links me with this guy, Dan, at Apostle Pictures, through Dennis Leary, who's his friend.
Yep.
They did this. So this is one of the writers from Rescue Me, and he teaches me how to professionally write a screenplay from A to Z. So I learned from one of Dennis Leary's writers for the show Rescue Me how to through Lenny Clark, how to write a screenplay.
Lots of love to Lenny for that. Yeah.
So now we fast forward to Methanol Mile, right?
Yes.
And I had Tom Sizemore attached at the time. Tom Sizemore, you know Tom Sizemore. Love Tom Sizemore because he's in the movie Heat the Armored Car Robbery. Tom Sizemore was my acting coach coming up in Hollywood as a street kid, and the only reason I connected with him was because, you know, he was a street guy. He was still involved in drugs and stuff always, but I understood. I was used to that. I could deal with that kind of thing, but he was a really good guy. And we ended up casting him to play the dad in this, and he ended up, during the pre-production, he died. He ended up overdosing and dying. I spoke at a celebration of life. I'm a producer on the documentary about his life. God rest his soul, Tom. But he was my guy. And so I said, how do I replace him? And I was like, Lenny Clark. Yeah. I was like, fucking Boston, and I go, and this motherfucker is the whole reason I'm here right now, because he took a chance with me and passed this on to people at Apostle. So I ended up getting Lenny to play the dad in it, you know, and we make this movie Methanol Mile, the short film. We screen it at IMAX, fucking solid 500 seats. Just turns into this massive, not just screening of the movie, but like this talk about like what we're talking about with the drug epidemic and how it's killing people, with people that are from cops to probation officers to drug addicts to people that own recovery centers. We got 3 people scholarships that night in the crowd to programs. Yeah, like people are asking, how do I get my daughter into a program? We want to get her into one, and we just haven't. And someone's like, call me tomorrow, meet me after the show, get my number, and I'll give them a scholarship to my program. And so that happened 3 times that night. So it turned into this really cool thing. And Mike Zuccola was there, which connects us to the show, obviously. Yeah. So then Mike's here on your show. He's talking about that and just, you know what I mean, giving me a big shout out. And I don't know him from a hole in the wall. And he ends up getting cast now for
That's right.
the next film.
Mike Zuccola is here on the show, and he brings up how, I'm like, well, what producers would you like to work with, Michael? And he answers with, I want to work with Johnny Hickey. Johnny, you're sleeping by not casting me for something. You better have me. No, I'm just kidding. I'd really love to be a part of it. And then we fast forward to that clip gets shared with you. And now.
And so, and then I remember that Lenny introduced me to him that night after I seen him. I was like, I think that kid was friends with Lenny, and Lenny said this kid was like a good actor or something. So I called Lenny up. I'm like, Lenny, what's up with this kid? He was on a podcast the other day talking about me. And I was like, I want to give him a shot. And he's like, yeah, he's great. So then I go and watch his stuff. I watch a couple of his commercials that I could find. And then I just watch some podcasts that he's on, and that he's funny and stuff. And I'm like, all right, I got this kid to roll.
Over there, Up Late with Friends. Big love to our homies. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and so then I write this role for him in the new version of basically. So what Methadone Mile was meant to do was create a bigger movie. So it was just basically create, you know, just do the short, do the big screening. But then we also we won Burbank Film Festival, Boston, Philly.
Endless awards.
Montreal.
It's unbelievable.
We toured it. It won a shit ton of awards.
Yeah.
And then I said, and everyone was like, are we going to make this into the feature? I'm like, no, we're going to make a whole new feature with the same characters, but a whole different story about the press pill epidemic and about people getting press pills, fake press pills, how they get them. And we got to create a situation where these things get introduced to a group of people. They don't even know that it's that, and it ends up everywhere, you know. And they got to deal with the collateral damage of what happens over the course of a night dealing fentanyl pills by accident. So that's the concept. And so Mike Zuccola got a role in that.
What's his role in this film?
He plays a fucking coked out underground club owner. Yeah.
Just walks in regular.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
And
is this the
he's
Gucci suit guy?
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
yeah.
In the
Okay.
Gucci suit.
Gucci suit
yeah,
guy.
he's
All
a
right.
fucking fruitcake in it, and he kills it. So he ends up being probably out of all the no-name actors in my film, like people that you just don't know as an actor, like Lenny or Justina or whatever.
Yeah.
He ends up being probably the best one out of. And he could hang with any of them. Like he's a very good fucking actor. That kid.
That's great.
I was
to
very
hear.
impressed. I would have liked to even write him more stuff. By the time I was done with him, I was just like thinking of shit because I'm like, this kid's good. You know what I mean? If you
Where
get someone
can
that
we
has good
squeeze him
moments
in?
like that,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
keep
yeah.
him. You keep that going because you know that's going to look good in the film.
Yeah.
So we did. We used him a lot, and he did great.
So what's the name of this new film?
So it was originally called Pressed.
Pressed.
Yeah,
Yep.
and the reason I'm changing the name is several reasons. One, if you Google Pressed, there's so many things called Pressed.
Yeah, like
there was
a lot of
also an
fruit
action.
places,
There was also
smoothie
there was
companies.
also an action film in 2011 or something that was
Yep.
called Pressed. Whatever. Then also, there was this kid I met that I took under my wing who decided that he would try to steal the idea and has a script called Pressed.
Come
That
on.
isn't the same.
God.
That
Don't
isn't-
even say
How
his
That
name.
isn't that isn't. No, I'm not gonna drop no names or
Yeah.
anything. I'm not gonna even do that. He knows who he is. Me, him, and God. No, we know what's up. We know what time it is. And so, but so this is only in Boston. This should happen. So he has this script, whatever, and he's all like burning people with it and like not paying people and doing just like weird stuff. But because of that, people are getting confused with my Pressed. And so, and I own the title and the copyright and everything. So if I wanted to I don't have time.
Yeah,
for
but it's
that.
already tainted.
I don't have time for
It's
that.
tainted.
So I'm changing. So I just said I'm changing the name.
What are you changing
So
the
it's-
name
So
to?
the name of the movie is now called Fetty.
Fetty. That's see, I like that better.
And it is
because
better.
With Pressed, I'm not necessarily thinking
No.
about what this movie
Fetty,
is about.
No,
Fetty.
Fetty, you know.
I know what
now
that
you know.
is.
Press, you don't know
I
exactly.
don't know. What
I
that, I
also
would think it was
feel-
juices or sandwiches.
Yeah,
I feel like it kind of goes with the other themes where like your movies,
Oxymorons.
yeah, and like
Method
and it's one of the only,
Fetty.
and it's one of the
Johnny
only,
Hickey,
and Fetty's one
the
of the
king
only
of-
drug slang words that's a national drug slang word. Because when
Yeah.
you talk about certain drugs, even weed and certain things, and then down south, they just call it something different. Like we used to call weed dope, right? So now dope's heroin. So, but Fetty is the national street name for fentanyl. So it just has a ring. It
Federally
approved. It hasn't
approved.
been done yet. Yeah, it hasn't
Yeah.
been done yet. And I just think that would like a sick piece of artwork for a poster. That movie is going to be a fucking.
I see
banger.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this movie is, I'll tell you, out of everything I've done, this is the best thing I've done yet. Yeah, 100%. I'll stick to that if you've watched anything. And to say that next to Oxymorons, like I haven't been able to say that. I didn't say that about
But,
Habitual is its
dude,
own kind of film, and Method Mile is a
You got
short,
some
but-
pressure from Method Mile because of the success of it. You're coming out saying this is definitely the
This
best
blows
yet.
everything out of the water that I've done. Yeah.
I love
Some
to
type of-
hear
Yeah,
that. So
and it's grimy and it's raw and there's sex and there's drugs and there's rock and roll and then it all fucking burns down.
it better be.
Yeah.
When does Fetty come out?
So we just finished production. So we did literally 5 days ago. So I'm taking a couple weeks off. I got to do some shit, and then by the end of April, we'll be in post production. So by the summertime, we'll be screening it at IMAX.
cool.
Summertime.
Yeah, by summer.
Like by July.
June, July. I'd love to tentatively say June, but I'd love to say July just for the fact of
Yeah.
you give them that, and then if you do drop it a little bit earlier, that's
Nothing
fucking
wrong with
awesome.
being early or
Yeah,
being
but
late. It's got a little negative vibe with it.
But it's April and July comes quick. You know what I
It
mean?
sure does.
Yeah, so I can wrap post by July
Yeah.
for sure. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So and have it delivered to IMAX and start setting up a date now. You know what I mean? So that's,
Yeah, I do.
That's the most realistic thing.
I look forward to being there.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be fucking
Yeah.
dope.
Hell yeah. Brian, what's up, buddy? What's going on in your life? What's
Going on?
Cannaspace?
It's gonna be tough to follow right there.
No way, bro. But you have
bad.
going on right now Cannaspace. What is that?
Cannaspace,
What is that?
You know what's up?
I told you he has a good vibe. Look at
Yeah,
him.
we're just following up Cannaspace. We're going to do some social consumption. I'd like to do a brick and mortar. That's going to be like the main kind of thing I'd like to do. But since then, and thank you for thanks for getting involved. We did a great event.
Oh, hell yeah.
few
Which is
weeks
how
ago.
we all met.
Exactly.
That's
Which is
right,
how
at
we-
Royale.
Which is how we even ended up here together tonight.
Exactly.
We were in a room together before.
Imagine that.
Can you believe it?
And I just noticed you from the thing with Mike and was
Yeah.
like, yo,
Yeah.
that's fucking
So,
crazy.
so yeah, it's been great. It's a good start. And,
That was a great start. Club Royale, Boston, Massachusetts,
Yeah.
legit room. You had DMC there. You had great bands there, DJ, room full out, legit people there.
There's a pretty
I would
cool
say-
podcast too.
Yeah, offering something on
Exactly.
site.
Represent.
Mike
I would
Dunphy.
say that it was a great
Yeah.
get
right.
Cannaspace out there in the event
Big
world
Pharma.
type thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. We had a great time. We got the place on short notice, and so we kind of just threw it together. So I think the next one's going to be even much better. So I'm
yeah.
looking forward to that. There's going to be a bunch of them. Once the rules and regulations do roll out, really looking forward to.
What kind of rollout do you think is going to happen here?
Well, I like every kind of rollout, if you know, but I would.
That like took me a second.
Yeah, I'm just being punny over here, but so
you have
I love
kids?
it.
yeah. Show my age here, right? No, so
I love it.
we're gonna do.
I got kids if that makes you feel any better.
Yeah. No,
Your
so-
jokes weren't quite as bad, though.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought they
Just
were
my
good.
story.
They were
Yeah,
dad
my-
jokes.
just
I
my
love
horror
dad
story,
jokes.
that's
I
all.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. No, well, yeah, once they go out, we really like to do like real social consumption. We got tons of ideas with the events. We're really looking forward to that. And then the brick and mortar itself, there's already a lot of competition out there, people that are already set up.
But nobody is like you.
Thanks, man.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Where's this brick and mortar going to be? You keep saying brick and mortar.
Yeah, we're gonna
brick and
do
mortar.
the Boston area. We've
Okay.
been looking at a bunch of different spots.
Like actually in Boston?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, yeah. The blueprint right now says you're allowed to have
Charlestown,
3.
maybe?
Yeah, I love Charlestown,
Right.
actually. There's a beautiful old, I want to say it's kind of like a church or library or something that's for lease right now. A little.
Is it the one that has a dollar? They turn into a Dollar Tree downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Not
no.
that one. We're talking about
Sure.
this. Yeah.
That's what they did to my church and the projects. It's
really?
literally it's a church still, but the entrance it says Dollar Tree.
Oh.
And it has a thing. Yeah, dude. So yeah, you could definitely
If
get in.
I was
You
a
could definitely
religious
get.
type,
You could
I'd
definitely
feel
get in there.
disrespected.
But do you know which one it is?
No, I don't.
No. But they're all nice and cathedral like. So that'd be kind of a cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're trying to do. We want to have events there. Like to do kind of, even podcasts.
Yeah.
Yoga, just kind of a pretty big scale type place. If we can find it, if the rules and regulations allow it. There's a lot of things we don't really know until they come up with that. So we're just, following everything that we have to do so far. And that
Do you know
first
what-
event
do-
really came out.
Do you know
kinda
what's
rough.
sad about that is the fact that you have to jump through the hoops to do that, to have a cannabis lounge, right? To have a smoke place,
Big
to
time.
people
You can
chill,
go get wrecked
right?
on
But you can go
those.
down a Methanol Mile and set up a tent and just
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
keep ODing all day and getting knocked
Right out in public.
And you can like smoke a crack pipe in front of a cop and throw it at them, and that's
Yeah.
that's okay. But
Yeah.
but you're
Mature
gonna
adults
but you're
would
gonna
like
have
to
to
go-
jump through fucking 18 pounds of red tape to
Yeah, that's
do
wild.
something fucking cool, and that could actually help help people.
Yeah, I'm hoping they really kind of pass the rules sooner than later. They said around the summer. Usually they drag their feet, but there's
They
been,
meant summer 2029.
Yeah,
though. But when they said 25.
But no, they have a new couple people that are in charge that are new. So I think that now that they're in there, they're gonna really try to kind of change their image and get this going immediately. And I'm hoping, as you said, there's a lot of hoops, but I'm hoping they work with this, and try to just really see that, this might be just kind of from listening to what you were saying. I have a lot of experience with a lot of deaths from heroin or the OCs or countless other things. And it's touched my family, my friends especially. And, this is, not the safest thing in the world, but as far as if someone needs to go down that alley, I think it's a pretty safe option, even compared to alcohol. So
This has helped save my life, and it's helped me be able to make movies.
Yeah.
Like when I sat and wrote that movie in a fucking notebook, I was smoking my sativa and fucking getting creative, and it was helping me, and it was keeping me. And let's be real, like no one doing hard drugs, smoking blunts, and fucking tabbing up. You know what I mean? For a reason.
Yeah.
So it's apples and oranges, and society really needs to fucking wake up and see that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Stigma, I think the stigma needs to go. I believe. I'm a real estate broker right now. I do mortgages, and before. I had my daughter 11 years ago. This was what I was doing. And when I was doing it before, I did the delivery, and it was all in California, San Diego, and medical. And just from, it was a completely different ball game because all medical, not recreation, not the novelty. We're talking people with seizures, cancer, you name the, the avenue of depression, anxiety. There was so many things, and these were like I'm not saying my patients, but they were like my family. Really, I had people die when it was just one of those things where like we're helping a lot of people too. So the stigma kind of needs to get changed. We're hoping that it has changed since then. In the last 10 years, wow, we've gone from leaps and bounds. But I think hopefully the next 5, it's going to change even more so with the social consumption. There's going to be a lot of things where you have to have the food, and you have to have kind of like for lack of a better term, like an infirmary, and that's okay. We're expecting that. People need to lay down, people need to eat, and so there's going to be a safe, inclusive option out there, hopefully the CCC will work with us and kind of figure out a good solution to have a good game plan. So,
I think they will, and especially with the way that you present yourself, because I can see you now sitting in City Hall. You know what's going on.
Well, I
And
mean,
you have a nice
I
suit.
want to, I want to change kind of.
You do. It's genuine. It's honest.
So hopefully we can give some people that had, kind of problems with other things a little bit of safer option to kind of go down and I think with that said too, I think hopefully this place will be a kick-ass good time and
man,
we'll be chilling and go a lot of smiles, different avenues of everybody we'll have some great events out there.
What's the next event not in that space on the horizon? You got something planned?
Well, we just had that. I had just heard, there was kind of a split in the road with my other job and this. So I was going to do a 420 thing. There's so many of them out there. We were thinking about doing like a Red Sox kind of, Grateful Dead-y event, but I'm going to pass on it. We're going to go to the Boston Calling for the next one.
Yeah.
And think about a music festival, late summer, early fall, possible like a one-day type thing, and maybe get involved with another festival that I heard. I don't know. We'll see. There's a couple of things on the horizon, so we're excited,
It is exciting.
So we'll see. We'll see what's up.
I love it.
Yeah, you guys should get involved. I do a horror festival now. I just launched the first one. Yeah, I just launched the Broom.
Cool.
The Broom Dance International Film Festival in Salem on Halloween
Broom
weekend.
Dance?
Oh, nice.
Broom Dance.
Oh,
It's like
nice.
Sundays. Yeah.
Oh
You
my
love
gosh,
it when you
that's-
came up with that
Yeah, I
name.
did, yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. Yeah.
I did.
Okay, what happened at Broom Dance this year?
So Broom Dance was good. We screened a bunch of films from all over the world. Shipyard Pumpkin Ale fucking sponsored us, which is a great beer to have for people that drink beer, like for that time.
People love it.
This place, Bit Bar, was our after party, this like arcade retro kind of crazy thing in Salem, Mass. We had all the best venues. We had the downtown Cinema Salem, during Halloween weekend. So it was fucking dope, dude. We put ourselves on the map for a gold level horror festival now with Film Freeway. And so it's just, we got to make it bigger.
You love horror, though, like gore.
I do love.
You love that.
Yeah.
Like too much blood?
Same.
Like that kind of stuff?
Any of it.
I feel like if
Give me
you
the
like
blood.
gore, there's never too much gore. Like I love gore in movies, but I can't deal with broken bones. So like you talking about like your pelvis detaching, I'm over here like I'm like losing it. But yeah, like I feel like there can never be too much gore in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Gore
Even my
movie.
crime dramas have gore in them.
Yeah. Brian, I love you. Good to see you, buddy. Everybody gives a hello to Brian over here. Stay fresh, buddy. Paul Williams here, the Brick House.
Paul.
From what I understand, you gotta move that chair all the way up to that red dot where your foot is there. Yeah, there it is. I understand that you did a lot of research on Johnny Hickey here.
I
so
started, checking out some of his movies. I watched Oxymoron. That was quite a flick, I'll tell you,
yeah.
and quite real.
Yeah.
you know, quite raw. I found myself looking at the old lady going, holy shit, did you, you know, it was, yeah, it took you back for a minute, but it was just, it drew you right in immediately. You know what I mean? You could pick up on some comedy that he might have a little comedy back, or a little, you know what I mean? I was like, this guy's throwing in some stuff. I'm actually laughing out loud at some pieces, and I don't know where, you know, where his mind was and what he was doing, but you could see he had a little comedic background or something else was going on. And yeah, then I got into the horror film there, and it was a couple of interviews, and yeah, he's I got props. He's turned his life around. He's doing pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the underlying thing here that we haven't truly given you praise for yet is that you took yourself from an absolutely disastrous situation that could have continued to suck you in. That cycle very easily continues, and does so for most that get involved in it. But you put in that work to make the transition into this positive and productive world, and I hope that you give yourself that pat on the back once in a while for that.
Yeah, I do. I still, you know, I face obstacles in life like everybody. But I believe in going through the obstacle, right? So every single thing that gets thrown at me, I just look at it now as like, just like this horrible situation that I went through in my adolescence. It's like, how do I take this horrible thing and utilize it to my advantage and to turn it into a positive? So if I could take this huge portion of chapter of my life in my childhood trauma that I went through and turn it into something positive that is now changing people's lives, and it's like saving lives, I've just changed the world. I literally just took all this negative shit that would be clinging to me forever and turned it into something completely positive, including my dream. And I think that the reason the universe and everything allows me to do what I'm doing is because I am making films that have a meaning behind them and will actually affect other beings' lives around me in a positive way. It's not
solely a self-serving, egotistical
not
process
at all.
here.
And if you watch my films and you're not looking at them at an 8th grade level, you'll see that for sure. You'll see all the little subliminal messaging and things like that. I wouldn't say my films are just like crime drama. They are crime dramas and they're cool, but there's so many layers, and especially Habitual, my psychological horror film. I mean, that's a mind fuck to fuck with you if you're using drugs right now and you watch that movie like high. You ain't fucking using drugs. I watched it fucking for a while. I'm telling you that. It fucks with you. It's a mind fuck, and you can watch it again and see things you didn't catch. Like, it's that style. So I'm proud of that one. But I love that kind of shit, and, you know, and I love just taking. And now I'm look at all this stuff just from me sitting here with you guys now, like all the positive stuff with Mike that happened all through. You know what I mean? Like, so
the journey is at the same time so much of the reward there in the process.
So what about Fight? Now you've got a non-profit.
Yes, I got a non-profit too. Yes, called Fight, the Film Intervening and High Team. Okay. So it's an arm of Chris Ferrone. Shout out to Chris Ferrone because he brought me to that event that night that I met you at in your event. Yeah. And Chris has been writing about me for years and stuff, so I went with him. But he has a nonprofit called the Boston Institute for Nonprofit Journalism. I'm an arm of that, right. Yep. And so they're my fiscal sponsor. And Fight is basically a program that I created to raise funding to teach at-risk adolescents that are, you know, high school age, or even if they're in their early 20s, you know, because the people are still young at that age and fucked up, right? And
absolutely.
And, you know, especially in today's world, right? And so, like I said earlier, what happened to me was, like, you're in school and you get all this, doing all this bullshit that it's not what you want to be doing, but you have to do it to fucking get your diploma, or you make your parents have whatever the fuck it is. And then, you know, you're doing geometry and all this bullshit. We all know the system's fucked at this point, right? And this place is like a prison, and it's like prep for prison because it's literally the same style. Like, I could take any school in pretty much in Massachusetts, like especially older ones, and if I didn't have a prison to use in a movie, I could use I could use a middle school. Like, it's fucked up. But that said, you know, Fight is to take these at-risk adolescents and teach them filmmaking from A to Z. So if it's somebody that wants to work in a podcast studio, if it's someone that wants to, you know, write something, be on camera as an actor, everything from A to Z, everything that I wish was available to me to not have me, my journey is my journey, so it's supposed to happen that way, but, can save kids that are at risk of, because a lot of the reason these young kids end up doing drugs and stuff is because, think about it, like that age, like you have all these dreams and things you want to do, and then there's just a certain point in that society of youth that you realize that none of those things are happening, and you're stuck in some shitty fucking town with some shitty fucking people and some shitty fucking drama everywhere, no matter where you're fucking from, whether it's my city, your town, whatever. Yeah. And you turn to drugs because it's just an easier way to fucking escape reality, because reality sucks and they make it suck for you. So if we can, help these kids do something they love, so, maybe it doesn't work for all of them, but again, if one kid goes on and like becomes an actor, director, whatever, and people have already been doing stuff with the program, it's been successful, which is great.
That's awesome.
But that said, the first thing they have to do is create content to fight the opiate epidemic. So whether they make a music video, a song about it, anything, if they do that, now we're creating more content, more awareness to.
That's awesome.
To deter the epidemic.
Well, that's fantastic.
Burger, on your way in, grab that. So, Lindsay, will you grab that box over there?
You're obviously pretty raw. How do you keep it authentic and still talk about your meaning, getting the drugs, getting that point across, but keeping the audience engaged? You know what I mean?
One more time.
Yeah, well, that's why I do crime. I mean, if you've watched my films, there's good story there, and there's good action, and there's a lot going on. There's never really moments where you're like, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna fall asleep.
Right.
I mean, especially Habitual's like,
fuck.
Oxy's crazy, but Habitual is a fucking like roller coaster ride, right? So, and then before you know it, they're watching, basically, something that is fucking twisting their brain,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, two things. One, Burger's here. We love you, Burger.
What's up, guys?
You look fantastic
Fashionably
tonight.
late,
And he brought over this
brought you some
box
things.
of gifts from our sponsors. No, we want you to pick the
known
box
this
up,
kid.
pick the box up, put it in your hands.
Big box for you.
Take the stuff out of it.
Oh, man.
One at a time. Throw it in that direction. People, don't throw the beer at anybody.
Enjoy your life.
There you go. Yep, that's what it says on it. Look at that.
Am I really throwing shit at people?
Yep,
Yeah, throw it out there. Goose is ready to catch. There you go. Nice. A little airplane. That's a gift certificate to Pomodori. 3 ways for days coming up for you.
Yeah,
Woo, baby! Yeah.
So you and I go way,
Squire
way
specialty
back.
elixirs.
You bounced around from being DJ to producer or actor.
Where's the way back? Where?
Oh man.
Gloucester, because
Yeah, it was in Gloucester. You were at that DJ thing.
I
with
was
Vito.
throwing those pool parties. I
Yeah,
was
those
throwing the
pool
pool parties.
parties.
I was
Yeah.
throwing those pool parties. That's the little thing hustle I did on the side. I found this a YMCA campground in Gloucester next to Wingasheek Beach that has a water slide and is like made to be like a fucking festival.
Party Central.
Yeah. The only problem is like the rich fucking people that live around there do noise complaints even during the day. But whatever. But I would do these cool little fucking pool parties, with DJs playing and fucking food and bring BYOB basically. They were cool. They were fun for sure. So you met me at those, but then you hung out with that whole like OTB crew, Soul Rubber Project, Moody, all them kids. I would always see you at events with them. And then when I started coming to Newburyport with some people, I would see you at all this
all
fucking
these
shit.
guys.
And then I seen you at the event at the Run DMC event at Royale.
Yeah.
So.
Look at that. The circle
We got a
is
little history.
complete.
Yeah.
Always
You look
seeing each
great.
other behind the scenes. Dude.
Yeah.
Always doing
absolutely.
something.
Always doing something for sure.
You got the box on your lap.
Am I still doing that?
Yeah.
Take the stuff out. I didn't know if I was supposed to do while he was.
I don't know. He started talking. I didn't know what was going to happen. There we go. That's what-
stickers
that's
for
what we
everybody.
Hey. All right, T-shirts.
There you go. Enjoy your life.
That's it.
Offering
Hey,
something.
you got your now.
The
Hey.
first one to do it correctly. Here we go.
Enjoy your life. Yeah, wake the fuck up.
All
All right,
talking to
who's
Goose.
getting the fucking
Don't throw
All
that
right, who's
Hold
getting
on.
the bottle to the head?
Okay. We're not bottling people anymore. Those days are gone.
Another enjoy your life beer.
Now you can drink it with a friend.
I don't know if that's real candy. Sorry. What are you doing over there?
Oh, I never seen Goose move that fast, bro. Slow down.
You got some
He's
lip
not
gloss?
behind. Like, he's smart. He's like behind the light. I don't want to damage
Behind the
equipment.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know why he gave me lipstick.
that's for Lindsay. Sorry.
And New Balance.
Open the
Oh, you
sneakers.
got
Is
some
this empty
shoes.
now?
Yeah.
There we go.
Ooh, those are some freshies.
Yeah,
Look
buddy.
at that.
Those are
Nice.
fresh.
So interesting. Another
Let's get interesting,
connection.
Johnny.
New Balance sponsored Oxymorons, and that's why we're wearing all New Balance shoes and New
All
Balance
right.
jumpsuits in Oxymorons. My first film.
No way.
kidding.
New Balance logo
awesome.
has a screen credit at the beginning of Oxymorons and Affliction. Those are my two clothing sponsors because
No
New Balance
kidding,
is a
dude. That's
local
cool.
company that
I love
supported.
that. I love
and
New Balance.
And what was
Yeah.
cool about New Balance for me, and why I love New Balance and have so much respect for them,
Yes.
and I wear New Balance too, so I love it. Is because today I'm not, but I do wear it. Is because they took not only did they take a risk just sponsoring me was great, but they took a risk putting their brand in a movie that
was like that.
pretty fucking raw and had a lot to do with drugs and murder and racism and crazy shit. And they backed me and they let me. They gave me all those running suits we had on. Those are all New Balance.
All the white ones? Yeah.
The white one, but the orange and the green
Oh,
one
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Those are all New Balance. They look like Nike. They
kidding.
were sick and they were unique. Like it was a unique drop that they just had. It was like test samples or something. It was fucking dope. Yeah,
I love it. New Balance, good people. We didn't give any love to our sponsors today.
Yeah, let's do it.
Go for it, Bergs.
Shout out to Pomodori. Get a 3-way. Love that. Shout out Enjoy Your Life. Rumson's Rum. Squire's Specialty Elixirs.
Yeah.
New Balance.
Burn helmets.
Burn helmets. Oh man, I forgot to save my head
Yeah,
today.
you don't have one on today, so it's harder to remember. You look very cleanly shaven.
Those
Yeah,
are pretty
looking
fresh.
fresh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's a little Danny McBride thing.
He's
going
got a
on.
little
Holy
bit, right?
shit.
It looked a little more like it when the hat came off. Yeah. Yeah. I like your vibe.
I like your vibe. I'm gonna drink some hot sauce. Anybody want to drink?
Wow. Burger arrives on the scene.
Does he do
This
this?
is his whole thing. While he's getting that open, because it takes him a little bit. This is my thing. Oh, wow. That was the fastest ever.
What's
The
that,
fastest
Michael?
he's ever
What's
done
that,
it.
Michael? I
Burger's on
can't
fire!
say baby.
Is that the same flavor as last time?
No way.
Baby.
He's trying to hand it to you, Johnny.
I'm good. I'm good, buddy.
He's going to give you a little more,
good.
and he's not doing it. I'll do this for Burger for coming here today. So, Johnny, if people want to connect with you, where do they go on Instagram?
www.chughotsauce.com.
Yeah, baby.
There's your tomorrow.
I'll take part in all the weed, the roast
boy.
beef, the
You don't-
throwing shit
Try
at
it.
people, but chugging hot sauce.
can't do
That just
do it.
crosses a certain line that you're not ready to
sorry.
cross. I
Maybe next
respect that.
time.
No, I know.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Those
not
are
next
nice
time
sneakers.
either. I hope you didn't get hot sauce on those sneakers. Where do we
I
go
can't
to?
afford those
Like,
things.
we want to connect with all things Johnny Hickey. Where do we go? How do we do that?
So if you just want to check out my stuff, just go to johnnyhickeyfilms.com.
Yeah.
You see links to my movies and stuff. I'm constantly adding stuff to them.
Yep.
Instagram, the Johnny Hickey. The Johnny Hickey will bring you to any of my other stuff, but Instagram's where you just kind of wear
It's an
them as.
EY. Hickey.
The and then JOHNNYHICKEY.
Right on.
Yeah. Yeah, come connect. If you want to be a part of anything I'm doing, I just want to reach out. As you can see, like, people have reached out to me in
Hell yeah,
weird
bro.
ways, and they end up working with me, and weird, cool shit happens.
I think that's
so.
because you're like a real human being. You don't have this I'm pretty much better than you
No.
big
attitude
ego
about
thing.
you.
Yeah.
No, you got to stay humble in this always. Like, I know who I am. I'm confident with who I am. I'm not a tough guy. I don't bully people. You fuck with me, I'll stand my ground. Say that, you know what I mean? But other than that, like, I'm all about creative. All I'm about, your network is your net worth. And some of the biggest problems we have
Precisely.
segregating ourselves from people. You know what I mean? If I start segregating myself from people, I'm losing opportunity.
I fully agree with this.
You know, anyone who's doing something fucking cool and just like isn't stuck in the matrix, kind of, you know what I mean? I hate to say that. I know that's so cliche, but just isn't, just stuck on stupid,
So
basically, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of just doing creative stuff and trying to do something different and just trying to live outside the box, dude. I'm down. Like, I'm down. I'm down to support. I'm down to support any of your stuff, you know, that you talked about earlier.
Cool. Bro.
Anything that y'all doing, you know. Burger Snaps already knows. He sees me all the time. If you even
Man, you just got to reach out, dude.
Yeah, same here, dude.
You got to speak up.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That was a little rough.
Yeah, I don't know. It's almost
I went all in on it, but I'm gonna regret it. I already know it.
Thank God I didn't fucking try to like hang with the guys on that one.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't succumb to peer pressure. Was there something special Kindly Baked Confections wanted us to eat on the show right now?
I already said no to rum burger.
You know, all right, Paul, you're out of here. John, get in here. Bring the box in. We're going to eat this, and then we're going to wrap this situation up.
Oh, boy,
what a time it's been. Oh, my God, what a time.
Brownies, what do we got?
What do you got? What's in the box, bro?
No. We got these Brazilian truffles.
Put the mic near your mouth while you speak there.
I'm not going to butcher the name. So what they are essentially is dulce de leche caramels with a chocolate version rolled in either coconut and or Jimmy's. You know, so.
Oh, my God.
Anyways.
We'll have to take that part out.
No.
I think that's not
I've been
good.
corrected by Sticky Lens. So they are not vegan, but they're definitely gluten-free, so we're going to pass them along if anybody would like to try one.
Is this? I can't eat this, right?
No, none for you.
Johnny doesn't eat.
They're absolutely it's not medicated at all.
Right now.
Burger, eat 3.
It's on you.
Get in here.
Everybody else, who wants to eat, come eat these.
Motherfucker, sprinkles.
Sorry.
Ooh. One time Lindsay said something crazy.
Pass them around.
Kindly Baked Confections, always making the good goods. You know, we had some chocolate something muffins before this went down. Love you for it, John.
Yeah, man. My daughter asked me to make those, and I was like, yeah. But honestly, those are so difficult. I probably never make them again.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're delicious.
I've had
right?
these before.
Yeah, they sell
Nice
them
work,
They sell them at
Goose.
the Brazilian bakeries. They're absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well. Wow.
All right, as you guys chew on those and we can all hear it through the microphones, is there anything that that we missed? Sorry. He's like, bro.
Does he want to slap?
I got excited.
You
I'm excited, man. Just calm down a little. Calm down. I'm excited.
Calm down.
No, I'm kidding.
Simmer down.
We're going to check Fetty when that comes out sometime July
is that the new one?
2025.
Fetty's the
That's
new
the
one,
new
yeah.
one.
Fetty's the new
Don't
one.
sleep on it. TheJohnnyHickeyFilms.com. Did I say it right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
I said it right.
No, JohnnyHickeyFilms.com.
JohnnyHickeyFilms.com. Get hip with it. You'll know when Fetty's coming out. You got to check what's already out there. Methadone, Mile, Habitual,
These are
Oxymorons.
on Amazon.
Yo.
Where can you watch? Where can you watch most of your films?
Everything now is on Amazon, Tubi, Apple TV, anywhere Roku.
Okay.
Roku system, Vudu, probably some weird things like Fandango, Redbox.
Everywhere. Let's go.
Cool.
All right. I'm ready to close this out. Everybody in the room except Pierre, come on over here.
Come on, Pierre.
That's a wrap,
Just for
yo. This is Johnny Hickey. You gotta get hip with my
Get
man.
hip.
Burger Snaps is here. Silly Goose, Paul Williams,
I made
John
it.
Pettingill,
I
Kylie
didn't think I was
Baked
gonna make it.
Confections,
Oh, my
Sticky
breath is
Lens,
hot right
Brian McHugh from Cannaspace. And my name remains the same, Michael Bernie. I love y'all. This is offering something.
Woo!
Peace, my friends. Yeah.
We did it again, y'all.